YouTubers, family and friends, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Edward. My channel name is A Foreigner Escapes to the Philippines, and I've been in the Philippines for about 10 years now. I live in the island of Mindanao, northwest Zamboanga del Norte, and this is a pretty thick jungle region. There's one road. This is actually a coastal road, but we live quite a ways inland, about probably between 8 to 10 kilometers from the ocean inland. But the road that goes by our house is called the coastal road because it continues along the coast if you drive north on it. So I'm here at the last mile of my journey, going every morning. I walk 2 miles, and today I have feed for my cow and chickens in my backwoods, and I got a whole sack full of toads. Some people call them frogs, but they're toads. And my pool is drained at my house, and I drain it in the rainy season because it's too hard to care for. And the frogs like to go in there and lay their eggs when I don't have any chlorine or anything in it because of the rain, right? The rain pools up in there, and then they lay their eggs. So this is like the 4th or 5th bag of toads that I've taken out of my pool. I mean, this is deep jungle, guys. I mean, the wildlife is everywhere. Snakes, reptiles, toads. And here's one of the neighbor's cows. Looks like a young bull, maybe 1 year old. And one thing in the Philippines, I'm sure you all know about already, and you can see here, the loggers been in here the last couple weeks, and they cut down about 50 trees, 50 beautiful trees, and it's a shame, but that's what happens in the Philippines, especially in the province here, that you get it's only one of the ways that landowners can make money, either raising cattle and having a cattle ranch business, or cutting trees. See, as you can see, they cut in this whole area here. They cut about 50 is what my count was, and I don't know the name of these trees. Here's some smaller ones right here. Some of you guys know what the name of these are. I don't. If you could put in your comments what kind of trees these are. They're pretty beautiful trees when they're big size, but they're valuable for logging, so they log them off. I think it takes about between 10 and 20 years, and that's when they log them. Most of them were about a 2 foot across. Here's a stump here. Maybe that's 18 inches or so, about each tree. It's about 18 inches to 2 feet. And as you can see, it's just the big, huge logging truck's been in here 3 times now, picking up, and they leave all the small stuff. They only want the big diameter stuff. And they also cut down some mahogany. There's another cow. Here's mahogany. They cut down a few of them mahogany trees too. And so I was trying to figure out, I think it's between 2 to 3 times the money. The buyers that come in here and buy the trees from the farmer, they buy it per the tree, and sometimes they'll make you a deal if you have more, so it's worth their time you know, because they have a crew of 6 or 8 guys, young Filipino men that jump on a big, huge logging truck. It's like an old World War II 4-wheel drive flatbed truck. It's converted to a flatbed truck, you know. And that and the chainsaw specialist. See how nasty the road is, you know. And this time of year, that's the way it is, because it's still rainy season, super depressing. Because it's, you know, this is going over 3 months now. 3 months of the rainy season, it really gets to some people, and it gets to me. You know, I didn't realize how bad it affects me, but it takes a toll on you. You really have to have a disciplined mind for it to not take a toll. That's why I love coming out here in the deep jungle where we own property. Where we're going, we put this piece of property here is 5 hectares, which is 10 acres. In my 4.5-year-old son's name. So, you know, everything's gonna go to him anyways when I'm dead. Well, I shouldn't say everything. 50% he will have a right to, and then my wife has the other 50%, right? That's how it works in the Philippines. So I'm hoping, you know, that my wife won't sell her half, and she'll give most, if not all, of her half also to my son, you know. So, married to a Filipina. It'll be 10 years in April next month that we've been married. And we married just only 2.5 months after we met. That's the way I think it's right to honor Christ, especially if you know it. If you've had signs, and you know, if you're close to God, you're gonna know. Sure, you know, I'm not saying I'm any better, closer to God than anybody else, but when you're a Christian, you know these things, and God sends you to someone, and then it will just obey God's laws, and things work out pretty darn good, really. So here's going down the trail. It's pretty muddy day. Here's the neighbor's house here. He kind of watches over the area and caretakes for a lawyer that owns most of this land here. Morning, guys. And then this road here never was here before, and now it's a road that the piggery at the bottom of the hill made. So this used to just be a tiny walking trail here like 3.5, 4 years ago. And I think it was in 2001 that they built this piggery down here. And it's pretty hard to get stuck. There's a lot of mud. I mean, look at right there. I mean, that's some pretty deep mud. That's that 4-wheel drive logging truck, right? They went down in there and got trees that they'd cut out of there. And that's like 2-3 feet deep. But these trucks are huge. Their tires are probably close to 5 feet high and 4-wheel drive, and they are beefy. But there's a lot of rock. I mean, you get 2-3 feet of mostly it's clay, but there's a lot of rock, especially the ridges. I mean, this is like a ridges. It's rolling hills, you know, but it's not really soft rolling hills. They're fairly sharp rolling hills. And then you have this whole valley has a mountain ridge that goes all the way around it, and that mountain ridge is on the other side of it goes down to the ocean. So it's a pretty protected valley. I mean, we live in a part of the Philippines that you don't get any typhoons. I mean, if you do, it's by the time it gets to us, it's so depleted We get a little bit of wind and rain, of course. Get lots of rain. But we never receive any of the terrible winds that are devastating of a typhoon, just because of the position that we're in on the island. Because 95% of all typhoons come from the east. Here now we're taking the trail. There's the piggery over there. They got about 30 pigs, 30 sows, and they, sell the piglets and sell leech-on sized pigs. And then sometimes if the sow gets too old, they'll butcher it up into meat, just cut it up and sell it into chunks of meat. They'll sell it to buyers on meat shops and stuff, So it's a pretty awesome jungle, really. I mean, it's just so bad during the rainy season, right? And the rainy season should be over sometime this month of March. Today's March 7th, 2025. So it's pretty lush green. That's what you get here in the Philippines. It's always raining, even in the dry season. I mean, it's kind of like Hawaii, Hawaiian Islands, where you get this torrential rain. It'll last maybe 15 minutes to an hour, and then it's gone and it's sunny again. That's kind of the way it is here in the dry season, right? But in the rainy season, it's overcast 90% of the time. It's rare that you get to see the sun. I mean, it might peek through 2 or 3 times during the day for maybe 15, 20 minutes. And that's it. So, my last few years before I came to Philippines, met my wife online. I met her on christianfilipina.com, CF, right? A lot of you have heard of it. And it was, kind of a sign from God about that channel too, because see how beautiful it is here. This is a great, some of the neighbors lease this land from the owner, which is a lawyer, to graze their cows. It's a great grazing land. I'd love to own this land someday. I pray I can buy this, because it's connecting to my property. And then I can get road access also by buying this piece of property. And that's my hope for the future, is that I can connect these all up and get road access to the main road. And then I can graze my cattle in here and have it all set up for Leonardo before I die. Fence it up and gate it, put gates. I put a gate down here already, but I don't have it hooked up yet. But I'd say this piece of property here is about 40 hectares. Between 20 and 40, I don't know. I got to talk to the owner. When I get the money, if I ever get it, I will. But I bought this piece of land right here, and there's my fence line. And this is 5 hectares that I own here. And yes, I own it, because why? Because I'm a foreigner that married a Filipina. The Philippines Constitution protects the family. Therefore, I own 40% of this land, and my wife owns 60% while I'm alive. So read your Constitution, guys. Don't believe everything you hear on the internet, because most of it's baloney. Most of you know that by now. So I paid 550,000 pesos for this property with the running stream on it. So here's my fence right here, and then right there along the whole bottom here, here's my fence line. And then you got this beautiful stream that runs all year long, even in the dry season. And this goes up like 3 feet sometimes if you get torrential rains in the rainy season. I've seen it higher than this, like 3 feet higher. And fence here. I'm in the fence. So I'm gonna let go of these toads here now. And this is where I just open the bag and let them crawl out if they want to crawl out or not. So let's see if I can get them out of the bag. If I can do it with one hand here. There we go. Got the string off. Okay, guys, fly, be free. There's one right there. He got out right away. There's some more coming out of the bag. So I don't know what it is about my swimming pool when it's drained and then you get some rainwater in there and then the toads start coming because it's a calm pool. But then they let out some kind of pheromone, and then all the frogs in the whole dang barangay, maybe a kilometer around, can smell it, and they all come just by the hundreds into my pool. And it's like I say, this is the 4th or 5th bag of about 10 or 15 toads that I've taken here, which is like 2 miles away from my house, and then I release them. But I'm hoping that these ones aren't the ones coming back, but who knows. So yeah, I always loved toads, and from a little kid I always loved the way toads look, and they're so gentle and they eat so many good bugs. And the ecosystem works here, right? It works. None of the government doesn't spray chemicals or damage the environment like they do in the U.S. 'Cause, every time man's hand gets, whether you're talking nature, the ecosystem, or medical or anything, when man's hand is involved with trying to change and manipulate things, it's a disaster. And it's been proven over and over throughout humanity. So don't ever let these bureaucrats tell you, or these bought and paid for so-called scientists, that the bureaucrats has marching orders, right? The last 4 years we know that, guys, that's all bull. Don't believe any of these quacks from the government, because they don't know what the heck they're doing. They have an agenda. They're trying to, euthanize the public because they think the population's too high, and they want to take most of it out or make them sick, so then they can say, oh, you're sick, we can fix you. So see, they cause the sickness, and then they say, oh, but we're going to help you. Why? Because money and power, guys. Follow the money trail. So here's the part of the property. I'm coming up the hill. I got this rope set up. Sometimes I'll put Rosie, my cow, my one cow, attach her to this rope, and that metal thing down there on the rope just slides across the rope. When I tie her rope to it, she can go up and down all the way to the creek if she wants, But probably first week in December is when I quit cutting out here. But as you can see, I've burned and made piles. I've burned piles 2 different times, and now I got more piles here to burn if it ever dries out. And I've not been able to come out here with my brush cutter or chainsaw since the first week of December, and it's past the first week in March now. That's how bad it is here for rain. It's just constant. And this is only this part of the Philippines, guys. Up north, Luzon, where Manila, the capital, is, it's dry season there. So it all depends. You can't put Philippines in one word saying, oh, it's like this in the Philippines. No. You got to know where in the Philippines it is, because every region is different. Here in Mindanao, it's 100% completely the opposite of what it is in Luzon, right? Luzon is the biggest island in the Philippines. Then it's Mindanao. Mindanao is only very slightly smaller than Luzon. So here's Rosie. Hi, Rosie. Okay, I'm gonna get your food. She wants it so bad. She really loves this. It's a slasher with oats and beans and all kinds of stuff in it. And then I mix that with a #1 finisher, which is basically alfalfa pellets. So put that in here in this bucket. See, this is your, get a handful. As you can see, you got your pellets here. That's the alfalfa, and then you got all these corn, oats, peas, all kinds of stuff. She just can't get enough of it. But if you try to change it, if you're trying to change her food, which I did once here last week actually, if you try to change it, she won't even take maybe 2-3 bites, and she's like, what are you doing giving me this? This ain't my food. And then she's so spoiled, my gosh. It's crazy spoiled, this cow. So, here go, Rosie. Here go. There you go. Yeah, she really loves it. She'll eat all that. So, I showed you guys this lots of times, every time I'm up here, but on new subscribers and new viewers, this is where the crew will sleep here for the night, because usually it's like 1 week, 6 to 8 days depending on the harvest. And there's a little table for eating, and then you put the fire in here. And I don't know if you can see right now, but there's eggs. Oh yeah, you can see them. The chickens have decided they're going to lay some eggs here. So there's only 2, and there was 2 yesterday too. So I'm hoping that they'll lay a little more and let these hatch. I'm just going to leave them. But yeah, and then they take the coconuts apart. So here's a coconut shell here, right? They take this top off, and then they scrape out what's in the middle, the meat of the coconut, and then that's called the copra. And then they climb this ladder and put it up here. I don't know if this ladder's strong. Oh yeah, it's okay. They put it up here and steam it. They put the fire down below, and all that smoke and heat comes up here and steams maybe 50% to 75% of the water content out of the copra, the meat of the coconut, right? And then you bag that up and then bring it to the buyer. And right now it's the highest the price has ever been, 58 pesos per kilo. And we just sold, what, 2 months ago? Yeah, 2 months ago. I think it was first week of February, or last week in January. It was about 2 months ago. And we got 48 pesos per kilo. So as you can see how fast the price is going up, that means inflation, guys. It's everywhere in the world. And yes, all the prices are going up here too. Why? Because what causes inflation is overprinting of money. Not, I mean, when gold backed currencies in the old days, then supply and demand could cause inflation if the demand is super high and the supply is super low, right? When you have a solid, true, good money system, right? But if with gold out of the picture and you just get the promise of government, which is, we know it's all lies, 90% lies. You know, if the politicians' lips are moving, it's a lie. So that's 90%, guys. Now, I don't know, maybe Trump's better than that. I sure hope so. But a lot of people are hoping he'll turn this thing around, but we'll see. I got my reservations, but there's so much money off the books that governments are printing, and they don't have to print it in a paper anymore, right? They just put it into digits. They just go to the computer to type it in whatever amount they want into whatever bank accounts they want. And that's how they create loans anyway. The Federal Reserves and the central banks, they create loans out of thin air. It's not money they have that they're borrowing people. That's not how they operate, guys. Do your research. Nothing is borrowed. They create it out of thin air. And then you pay them interest your whole life. If you got a 30-year mortgage, for 30 years you're paying them big money every single month out of thin air, money that they've created out of nothing. But you're working your butt off, you know, paying them a huge amount of money every single month for the rest of your life. Good luck. See, you're a slave. You're a slave to the system, and that's what they want. So in order to be free, you got to get away from that stuff, guys. Don't ever build a house unless you have the cash in your pocket that you saved for it. Same thing with buying a car or anything else. You know, because these bloodsuckers they'll suck you dry. You know, they're a scammer. They're your top scammers, right? There's so many scammers in the world. Every single person you meet in your life in the business world, 9 out of 10 of them are scam artists. Period. So basically, if you get a business degree, what you're doing is trying to train yourself to become a scammer and scam people, because that's what they do. That's majority of what happens in the business world, guys. Yes, some people have to make a very marginal profit, but come on, yeah, marginal. Everyone can accept a marginal profit. But this, you know, double your money stuff, when you go into a retail store, all your items are over 100% marked up from what they paid for them. That's the way it is, guys. So anyways, keep that in mind. So yeah, it's absolutely beautiful here, guys. I mean, oh, there's some actual blue sky. That's amazing. It's pretty rare. I mean, I can feel it in the air a little bit that the weather's changing to the dry season now, but it rains almost every night, and most of the day it rains. But I can tell the feel of the air. I mean, this is my about 7th season in the wet and dry seasons now, because I've been married to my Filipino wife 10 years, but I've been solid since my retirement for 7 years in the Philippines. So those first 3 years was construction, and I was flying back and forth to the U.S., still working my job in Alaska. A shout out to my Alaska friend. He has a Filipino wife, and he lives north of Luzon. I'd like to visit him someday. But yeah, the sun is peeking through. Wow, that's awesome. See how beautiful it is here, guys? I mean, when it's in the dry season, it's hard to beat in the deep backwoods jungle. It really is, guys. I mean, you don't hear no roosters crowing. You don't hear no dogs barking. You don't hear no motorcycles speeding by. You don't hear no karaoke blaring. You don't hear anything. No traffic. It's just nature. And nature is just so abundant here. It's unbelievable. I've been wanting to try to find something for you guys as far as ants go. There's huge, massive armies of ants here, and they go in a trail, and there's like hundreds of thousands of them moving in a tight little trail going from one place to another. And it's so cool to see, and I've been seeing them the last few days, but I haven't seen it today. But it's pretty awesome once you come across them on a trail, or when you're in the jungle. It's amazing to see some of this stuff. And you know what? We're in a deep jungle, right? Rarely I ever see a mosquito or a biting fly or a gnat or anything. I mean, once in a while, but very rare, guys. Why? Because all the toads and the bats and the birds and everything that are so abundant here eat that stuff as soon as it hatches out. So it's rare to even see that stuff, right? And then where you get this dengue and malaria and all this stuff, is where population centers are, guys, and the sewage from the population centers, and no birds, and because it's, you know, it's all like slums and buildings and concrete and stuff. There's no animals, toads and all that stuff to eat the bugs. So then they overpopulate, the bugs overpopulate, and then they lay their eggs in the sewage ponds, and that's where all the dengue and all the bad stuff comes from. So you want to stay away from urban areas. Out here, there's nothing. It's clean. So clean. There ain't none of that disease out here, guys, compared to near population centers. That's where you're going to get the disease. Get out of the cities. And you want to get out of the cities anyways. Come on. Do you want to hear all that noise your whole life? Oh, there is one rooster here, and I got like 3 hens. They're the ones that laid the eggs. They hang around the Rosie here because they eat the seeds out of her poop, and then they eat whatever seeds and stuff that Rosie drops down on the ground. See how they're just congregating around Rosie? That's what they love doing, because they like eating that, right? Easy food. Just like every creature on the planet. Easy food, they love that. So I'm gonna let you guys go for now. Sorry I couldn't find any ants, but if I find some, I'll make a separate video on it. So anyways, get yourself a piece of land that you can own, guys. You can own it. It's 40% if you marry, but and the Constitution of the Philippines protects you as a foreigner as long as you're married into the culture and into a Filipino family. That's the law. That's what the way it is, guys. My name's on a deed of sale and the title to this land. Because then, God forbid, if anything ever happened, you know exactly what's going on as far as ownership goes. So anyways, I'll let you guys go on that. I love you so much, and take care, and thank you for watching my video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.